How do you think humans will become extinct? Knowing us. It'll be the hard way. An asteroid composed of dinosaurs will crash into the Earth and they'll eat us all. A highly contagious virus designed to make its host infertile without presenting any other symptoms escapes from a lab and infects everyone. Collision of a Mentos truck and a Coca-Cola truck. Terminal stupidity. Meteor or a virus. XA-12 will throw a tantrum at age 10 and use the secret Tesla military base on Mars to nuke the fuck out of all of us. As a long-term optimist, my favorite is evolution. As we expand out into space through the eons, eventually we diverge and evolve into new species, and what we consider human is extinct. You can also view AI as a version of evolution and count that as well, but I personally think we can coexist with an AI we create. It's gotta be war. We literally have a weapon that can wipe out an entire country. Now multiply the amount of that weapon by thousands. One day countries and leaders will face a breaking point through clashing ideologies, and before we even knew it, we already fucked ourselves over. By irreparably damaging our biosphere. Takes a biosphere to evolve and sustain a complex living organism like us. Destroy that and we probably won't last long. TLDR. Some form of intelligent existence will survive to the end of the universe, somehow. The answer depends to your definition of humanity. I think there are a multitude of points one might not consider these people human anymore, while others would still consider them human. Humanity is going to colonize distant parts of our universe, and because of that distance and lag in communication due to the speed of light, will cause our culture to separate. Our very biology will, over time, drift away from our cousins in other colonies or in our solar system. Eventually, the people of each colony will be so different from the ones of the other colonies, we will consider the other ones to be completely alien to us both biologically. Not being able to reproduce between the two colonies without some genetic engineering. Thus being a different species. Psychologically and culturally. Some would consider this already separate enough from humanity we know today that they would consider them not humans. Another option for some to consider people not human anymore is when a civilization abandons their biology altogether and decides to live more efficiently inside of a computer. Some would consider these simulated people not real, while others would. Personally, I still consider them humans even if their existence is purely digital. If you still consider them human, like I do, then the end of humanity, or at least, the end of civilization descendant from our own, would probably be a little bit after the last black hole dies out. The bigger a black hole, the slower it releases energy as Hawking radiation and loses its mass. And because the universe progressively gets colder, and computers can be more efficient at colder temperatures, it would stand to reason that gathering everything we can, at least the entirety of the Milky Way and Andromeda, into a supermassive black hole that will release the energy so slowly, we will be running our civilization at ultra-slow speed to use that energy when we can do so most efficiently. Which gives us a separate advantage when it comes to long-distance communication, because speed of light lag becomes unnoticeable when the millions of years that the light needs to travel will feel like a fraction of a second of subjective time. And that's even before considering time dilation near strong gravitational bodies. Eventually, that black hole will shrink and start releasing energy at a higher rate. And by that point, the universe will be so cold that we can use that energy more efficiently, giving us an unimaginably long time to experience inside the simulation. As the black hole shrinks, we may decide at some point to feed it a little bit more mass to keep it alive for longer and get some more energy boost out of it, and slowly getting rid of non-essential systems, dropping them into the black hole gradually to slow its shrinkage. Eventually, the black hole will become so small and release such enormous amounts of energy that we will be able to, within its last few microseconds, simulate trillions of years of subjective time. After that black hole disappeared, use any non-essential system and convert them to energy with the most efficient means you can, eventually shrinking the size of the mega computer into a miniature computer, and eventually sacrificing old memories, from the least important to more important, to convert them to energy. In the last moments of the simulation, we will have an intelligent creature wondering if it is the first intelligence in the history of existence. And later, as we continue sacrificing parts of our computer for energy, the intelligence will decrease from human level, to dog level, to ant level, and to a simulation of a single cell life form, and eventually shut down, never to wake up again, until the very atoms fall apart in proton decay, disappearing to entropy, leaving no trace or evidence of anything having existed at all. In fact, We could be living inside such simulation at the end of time. Having already sacrificed 99,999% of our old memory to get a bit of extra juice and built our civilization and discovered ourselves from scratch. But that's just a theory. Nothing is certain. 6G. To throw a different fruit than what's here. I'm going to say humans will biologically die out. I think we could maybe reach a point where sentimental value of being a human is slowly gone in favor of something else. Like being a machine. Uploading consciousness. We may be our real selves but digital. Or just a program with personality effectively killing the host and stealing their memory. While retaining their information. Soulless. Either way, it won't be human. Well then let's find out. I think we will make a mistake. Something like, we send the majority of the population to another planet, but they crash. Or, we couldn't get to another planet in time. Humans make mistakes. It's about time we make a big one. We run out of toilet paper. Honestly. A massive asteroid. I'm talking miles in diameter. I mean, nuclear war is devastating, but just think about the colossal amount of energy released during such an impact event. Billions of nukes. The worst part? There's pretty much nothing we can do about it with our current technology. We'll probably damage the environment to a point where we can no longer live in it. In the last 100 years we've been burning through Earth's resources like we have another planet to move to. 2 likely options. 1. Climate collapse. Might not be the direct cause of human extinction. But it would certainly prompt a lot of candidates for human extinction. Nations going to war with each other as their land goes underwater or becomes otherwise uninhabitable. Wars over the last remaining resources. Increased temperatures across the globe result in more heatstroke deaths and tropical diseases spreading across the globe. In that scenario, either nuclear war or uncontrolled disease kills us all. 2. Massive collapse of technology. A coronal mass ejection cripples all technology on Earth life support systems, planes, power plants. Anything more complex than a radio is rendered unusable. Within hours, millions are dead. As supply chains collapse across the globe, famine becomes a part of life for many. With today's level of dependence on technology, it would knock us back to being an agrarian species. And the more technologically advanced we get, the worse a coronal mass ejection becomes. Imagine a time when most humans have complex cybernetics. A coronal mass ejection would literally kill billions as their body's electronic components failed. It would deal us a blow we could never recover from. A new company will come to be with a new slogan. Brondo with electrolytes, it's got what plants crave. Rape spiders. Already in the progress of that, so I don't think the need for any imagination here, but if I have to say. Moronic terrain renovation and the earth shot us in the butt. What do we say to the god of death? Not today. Stupidity. Or I should say the rapidly increasing gulf between common and academic knowledge. Science is moving faster than the average person's intellect because we have coddled being a fucking moron for decades now. Look at how COVID has been handled in the scientific versus common communities and imagine that level of dissonance in an even greater threat. Honestly, I think either we'll prime it in our lifetimes or it won't happen for eons, if ever. The big problem is that we're at risk of something on the scale of the Bronze Age collapse all over again. Where several advanced civilizations crumbled in less than a century due to collapsing trade networks. We don't even really know what caused it beyond raiders from the sea. We've already consumed all readily available hydrocarbons, which is how we industrialized the first time around. We're close to having renewable tech advanced enough to take over. But we're not quite there. Which means if international trade implodes before we get there, we'd have a much harder time bootstrapping ourselves back up the tech tree. To the point that it might be impossible for widespread civilization to take hold once more. Without widespread civilization and the advanced sciences and job specialization that come with it, we're much more sensitive to extinction events due to limited ability to mitigate them. And at that point, we're just as fragile as any other species. If we crack renewables first. However, I think human civilization would rebound even from WWII, because the main limiting factor in a civilization is access to energy. The only thing I can think of that would truly wipe us out in short order is if we accidentally create a paperclip maximizer Aussie that chooses to exterminate us because we'd look nicer as paperclips. Humans will cause human extinction. The Great Filter. Ted Faro, world's first trillionaire, creates an army of Peacekeepers. Machines designed to maintain peace. However, something goes terribly wrong, and the machines start breeding and feeding on organic matter, thus killing almost all human beings. In a last hope, a professor which was born 3 months ago, in March 2020, develops a protection program for Earth, called Project Zero Dawn. This project involves recreating the biosphere with the help of an almost omnipotent AI, called Gaia. This process works. The humans go extinct, but are reborn by Gaia. Then, don't you dare spoiling the ending. I'm bought there yet. This, of course, is only me being a psychic, and not at all the plot of any video game with Horizon Zero and Dawn in it name. I hope you enjoyed your own future. Pandemic and people will not listen to the warning signs and keep going out and acting like nothing is wrong. Or in short, dumb people doing their job.